Look closely at the art of antiquity. Have you ever truly wondered why every single ancient image of Orthodox prayer shows clasped hands, with the right hand dominant? Why do priests, bishops, and popes bless the congregation exclusively with the right hand? Why does the word sinister, a term we use today to describe pure evil and malice, literally translate to left in ancient Latin, while its opposite, dexter, gave us dexterity and righteousness? Listen to me closely. This was not a cultural quirk. This was not an accident of linguistics. This was a deliberate, calculated, and violent suppression of human spiritual anatomy. In the buried fragments of the Gospel of Philip and the Pistis Sophism, of the most dangerous Gnostic texts ever pulled from the Egyptian sans Jesus of Nazareth, reveals a secret to his inner circle. In a private chamber, away from the demanding crowds, he explains an anatomical mystery that shatters the foundation of organized religion. He tells them that the left hand carries a specific, biological frequency, a frequency that connects directly to the monad, that true, infinite source bypassing every single priest, altar, and intermediary the religious system has placed between you and the divine. The church could never allow this knowledge to survive, because if you knew what the electromagnetic circuit of your left hand could actually do, you would never kneel before their altars again. Right now, wherever you are sitting, place your left hand flat against your bare chest. Do not fold Italiano. Do not hide Italiano. Just let it rest over your heart center. Close your eyes for a fraction of a second and notice what you feel. A warmth, a pulse, something subtle, yet unmistakably present. That sensation is not random biology. That is the exact neurological pathway the Empire trained your ancestors to suppress. That is the physical anchor to the divine spark they told you was unreachable without their permission. If you are watching this at this exact moment in the timeline of your life, comment the words, "Left hand awakened." Do not just watch passively. This is not for a digital algorithm. This is a physical declaration to the universe that you are ready to receive what 17 centuries of imperial control have hidden from you. You are not here by accident. You clicked on this transmission because something deeply embedded in your spiritual DNA recognized the frequency of the truth. That recognition is the ultimate mark of the Pneumatica chosen one. A soul who carries the uncorrupted divine spark of the monad. You have always felt different. You have always sensed that the version of spirituality handed to you by society was incomplete, filtered, and deliberately weakened. You were entirely correct. But to understand why your left hand was demonized, we must examine the architects of your spiritual disconnection. In the Gnostic cosmology, the material universe is not the paradise you were told it was. It was not created by the true God of unconditional love. It was constructed by a lesser, ignorant, being called the Demiurge Archon, named Yaldabaoth. In the apocryphal texts, this entity was a flawed emanation, completely cut off from the real source, who believed himself to be the supreme creator. The Demiurge did not create you to free you. He constructed this dense, heavy, material matrix to contain you, to trap the limitless divine spark inside decaying flesh, subjecting you to the laws of time, gravity, and survival, so you would forget your own absolute divinity. But the Demiurge does not operate this prison alone. He requires administrators, collectors. The ancient texts call them Arch. Do not picture Archons as red-horned demons from Hollywood movies. Understand them as frequencies. They are parasitic consciousnesses that exist just outside our optical spectrum, and they feed on specific, low-vibrational emotional states. Fear, desperation, guilt, and above all, separation. Every time you feel cut off from the divine, every time you drop to your knees and beg an external, distant God for help, every time you feel powerless and small, you are generating the exact frequency of louche emotional energy that these archonic forces require to sustain themselves. The religious system you inherited was not corrupted over time. It was engineered from its inception in the 4th century to be an archon harvesting machine. In 325 AD, Emperor Constantine, a ruthless political warlord who spent his life worshipping the sun god's soul, Invictus realized his fracturing Roman Empire needed a unified control system. He did not have a spiritual awakening. He executed a corporate merger. At the Council of Nicaea, A political committee decided which version of Jesus would best serve imperial interests. They gathered the sacred texts, and they made their choices. The Gospel of Thomas, removed. The Gospel of Philip, erased. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene, branded as lethal heresy. Why? Because Bishop Irenaeus of Lyon and the architects of orthodoxy realized a terrifying pattern. Every single one of these suppressed texts contained teachings about direct access. They described techniques of self-realization that completely bypassed the need for a bishop. And crucially, they referenced the esoteric power of the left hand. They could not kill the teaching entirely. So they did something sociologically brilliant. They made the left hand synonymous with evil. They punished left-handed children. They tied their arms behind their backs. They created a global stigma. They trained you to pray with your right hand dominant, covering the left, suppressing your internal power, and begging the sky for a salvation you already possessed. Here is the esoteric biology that the Church Fathers understood and desperately wanted to keep from you. The human body is not merely a vessel of meat and bone. It is an advanced biospiritual antenna, and it is entirely asymmetrical in its energetic function. Because of the decussation of the pyramids in your medulla oblongata, your nervous system crosses over. Your right hand is neurologically wired to the left hemisphere of your brain. The left hemisphere governs logic, language, linear time, hierarchy, and the external, material world. It is the hemisphere of the ego. It is the hemisphere of separation. Your left hand is wired directly to the right hemisphere of your brain, the realm of intuition, pattern recognition, holistic perception, and the internal, quantum world. It is the hemisphere that perceives unity. It is the physical hardware that connects directly to the monad. When you are taught to pray with your right hand dominant, you are literally activating the neurological circuitry of external reality. You are reinforcing the illusion of separation. You are broadcasting outward to a God you have been brainwashed to believe is somewhere else, somewhere above the clouds, dodging you. But when you activate your left hand, when you allow the sinister hand to lead, you are engaging the hemisphere that does not understand separation. You engage the part of your soul that already knows it is whole, the part that does not need to beg, because it remembers its own sovereignty. The Gnostics understood this neurotheology perfectly. In the Gospel of Philip, there is a heavily guarded passage describing Jesus utilizing his left hand to transmit what the text translates as the living light. He was not blessing them in the orthodox sense of a superior granting favor to an inferior. He was executing a direct transmission and activation. The pneumatic thou, awakened soul does not pray in the way the church demands. The pneumatic does not ask. The pneumatic declares, the physical anchor that shifts human consciousness from the agonizing state of separation to the ultimate state of unity is the left hand. This is why it was demonized, not because the left hand is evil, because the left hand is free. Look at the architecture of the modern world. It is a masterpiece of Archonic design. Everything around you is structured to keep you in the left brain. Right-hand dominance of survival mode, the constant barrage of terrifying news, the perpetual debt. The religious guiltet all keeps your consciousness trapped in the frequency of fear and external seeking. But the Archons have a fatal vulnerability. They operate on a very narrow frequency band. They can easily perceive, track, and manipulate a consciousness that is begging, hoping, and fearing. But they absolutely cannot perceive unity consciousness. When you shift your internal posture from asking to declaring, from begging for a miracle to recognizing your own divinity, from right-hand submission to left-hand activation, a profound quantum event occurs. You become invisible to the Archon grid. Your energetic signature changes instantly. You are no longer broadcasting food for the parasites. You're vibrating at a frequency so high, so completely aligned with the monad, that they cannot even detect your presence. You slip off their radar. This is the consciousness technology Jesus was actually teaching. It is not a belief system. It is a mechanical operation of reality. If you are a Heleka person, completely devoid of the spiritual spark, consumed only by the material, you could perform these gestures and feel absolutely nothing. It would be empty theater. If you are a psychic soul with a dim, flickering awareness, you might feel a vague placebo effect. But for the pneumatics, for the ones carrying the roaring fire of the divine spark, activating the left-hand sequence creates instantaneous, undeniable physiological shifts. You might be feeling it right now. A strange, magnetic stirring in your chest. A sudden clarity. A recognition that what I am describing perfectly maps onto an intuition you have harbored since childhood, but lacked the vocabulary to articulate. That is not your imagination. That is the monad inside you, waking up after centuries of enforced, institutional silence. They told you that you needed them. You never did. The kingdom was always within. They just forced you to look in the wrong direction. If you were ready to receive the exact, unedited technique that Christ taught to his innermost circle, the very method the Roman Empire burned libraries to eradicate, go to the comments right now and type, "I am ready." This is not a casual request. It is the crossing of an esoteric threshold. What I am about to share is dangerously simple. That is precisely why it had to be buried. Complex, theatrical rituals keep you dependent on the priest, but a technology that requires nothing but your own anatomy, that destroys empires. The left-hand sequence consists of 3 components. Only 3, but each must be executed with absolute intent, or the circuit will not close. Step 1. The position. Find a quiet space, preferably in dim light to reduce external visual stimuli. Sit with your spine perfectly straight to allow the central nervous system to act as an unhindered column. Place your left hand flat against your heart center. Do not fold it in prayer. Do not clasp it with the right. Let it rest open, palm flat against your sternum, fingers pointing slightly toward your right shoulder. Let your right hand rest passively on your lap. Doing this, you create a closed electromagnetic circuit between your heart, the center of spiritual gravity, and the right hemisphere of your brain. The gateway to the monad. You are physically declaring, the source is not in the sky. It is air. Step 2. The breath pneuma. Do not breathe with the shallow, anxious rhythm of a beggar. You will take 3 slow, intentional breaths. Inhale deeply for 5 seconds, drawing energy from the base of your spine, up through your stomach, and into your heart, where your left hand acts as an anchor. Exhale slowly for 7 seconds, feeling that energy expand outward. This is not a visualization. This is applied physiology. You are literally altering the toroidal field of your heart. Step 3. The declaration. This is where the grand inversion happens. You do not ask. You do not plead. You declare the ultimate truth. The 7 English words that approximate the ancient Coptic transmission are this: I am one with the source. Do not say, please make me one. Do not say, I hope to be one. Speak in the present tense. State it as an absolute, unbreakable physical fact. Say it out loud. Your vocal cords must vibrate your chest cavity, and your left hand must feel that vibration. After you speak the declaration, remain in absolute silence for 60 seconds. This is the receiving phase. You will not hear a booming voice from the clouds. Instead, you may feel a sudden, intense warmth spreading through your chest, a tingling in your extremities, a sudden, breathtaking drop in mental anxiety, as if the edges of your physical body have dissolved into the room. This confirms the circuit is closed. You have tuned out of the Archon broadcast and tuned into the monad. I must warn you, the moment this video ends, a voice in your head will tell you this is nonsense. It will urge you to click away, to go to sleep, to forget. That is not your voice. That is the Archon frequency, panicking because it is about to lose its food source. The resistance you feel is the ultimate proof that this technology works. Do not wait for tomorrow. Do it tonight. Your frequency is currently elevated. The spark is awake. If you wait, the matrix will pull you back to sleep. 3 components, 7 words, 1 direct line to the infinite. If your left hand is still resting on your chest, if you feel the living light returning to your veins, I ask you to do 3 things to solidify this manifestation in the physical realm. First, comment. LEFT. Hand activated. Seal your intention publicly. Second, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. We are rebuilding the library they burned, and the deepest teachings are yet to come. Third, Like this video, the algorithm is an extension of the Archon grid, designed to suppress the truth. Your engagement forces this technology into the hands of the next chosen one who is wandering in the dark. You carry the living light. The left-hand code is yours once again. Use it tonight. The monad is waiting.